What's up, Fire fam? My name is Kiahonfire and welcome back to New World. Today I'm going to be showing you my top 10 open beta tips so you can get into this as smoothly as possible and enjoy it. So we're going to start off with number one. Is to be able to even get into this open beta, you need to know how, right? And what you want to do for that is just really simple. You want to go to New World store page on Steam, and then you scroll down, and below the two pre-purchases is the Join the New World Open Beta, and you want to request access so you can download the file. You should receive an email, and once you've received that email, you'll be able to have this tab open called New World Open Beta in your Steam library, and then you'll be able to download it. It's about 36 gigabytes, and that's pretty decent, and that's how you do it. Bear in mind with this, it might take like a couple of hours or so to get you accepted into this, so you probably want to do this as soon as possible, since the open beta is open today on the 9th. After you've joined a server and you started your adventure, you've done the tutorial and you've started off in the main area where everybody else starts, you're in this beachy area and you have a watchtower, you're going to do some quests for this lady, and eventually you'll leave here to go to your first town. But before you do that, I'd highly recommend you make some tools. Now, you do get tools in the lower missions, but you are missing a whole period of time that you could be farming and picking up stuff in between the town and your starting area. So I highly recommend you make a sickle and some tools. That way, if you see any herbs on your way to town, you just gather. You see any iron, you grab that straight away. Like any of those kind of resources, get a little bit of wood, stone, just some of the basic resources before you get to town, because you're going to be walking quite a way to get to town anyway. So if you can make use of your environment before you get to town, then you should be able to get some stuff to complete missions in town, so you don't have to keep going out of town immediately. This is going to help a lot, having this as an option and having those tools. Yes, you're going to get those tools in town, but why waste a whole period of time of running there and back and missing out on resources that you're going to see along the way, when you can go and get those on the way? So like things like if you see hemp with the purple flowers, that's definitely a really good thing to pick up on your way to town. Anything like that, you know, just make sure you get some tools as quick as possible, and you'll really help yourself that way. And number 3, we have grouping up. This is really good because if two players have the same quest, say player 1 kills some wolves close by to player 2, and they have a kill quest for killing wolves, then it will also count for player 2 that player 1 has killed those wolves, and player 2 hasn't killed any wolves. But it counts for your quest. So it's really good and time efficient that way. That, and also in MMOs, usually having different roles is really good. So having your group roles is going to be good eventually. But also with this, it's going to be really helpful when you take on higher level stuff if you're together in a group. I mean, even if you have like a healer helping you as well, that's really good, or a tank, you know, your traditional kind of roles. But being in a group, more manpower, really good stuff. That, and if you like the PvP mode, then you can get a little bit extra PvP XP, and grouping up's probably going to help a little bit with that as well, depending on how you want to play it. Now in New World, you have to do a lot of running, and I mean a lot. It's kind of like a running simulator in some ways. However, you can combat this, especially at lower levels, because the durability on your items doesn't matter so much, since you'll be switching between items so often every couple of levels. This means if you want a faster teleport while you're in the lower levels, it's a great idea to just kind of do the suicide option that you can do in the menu. That way you can just respawn to like your camp you've put down, or you can go back to town if you're really far out in the wild. And yes, doing this will take some durability away from your armor and your items. However, like I said, you're going to be switching that out a lot, so that's not going to matter really much in the lower levels. It will matter in higher levels, but in the lower levels to the medium levels, you can go ahead and do this quite efficiently, and it'd be a really good option to go around with that, instead of wasting time just running back and forth. My next tip is picking up all the quests that you can in town. This is a really good idea because with quests, you're going to get a lot of XP. Town board quests give you like probably the most XP in one go as well, so it's good to pick all of those up. So make sure you pick up all your town board quests, your side mission quests, and your main quest. You're going to want to follow your main quest quite a lot, but if you're going to some area for your main quest and you have a side quest on the way, as well as some, you know, town board quests that are there, say there's a certain creature that you can kill in the area that you're going to when you're heading off to your main mission. Well, you can do those things on the way. That way you're maximizing time and XP, and you're getting everything you kind of need on the way to doing your main mission. So this is a really efficient way to level up. It's going to maximize your leveling up as well as your travel time. So make sure you pick up as many quests as possible in any of the towns you go to. Just absolutely hoard those quests. My next tip is about grabbing some really easy food. You're going to use food and rations to heal yourself in New World. You don't have to go around killing like a bunch of creatures and grabbing a bunch of really difficult things. There's actually a really useful thing you can do when you're in a town. Usually a town will have a honey pot in the middle or a cow. And if you milk the cow or collect from the honey pot, and then you go to the kitchen, you can convert these two sources of food into a ration, and you're going to be able to make quite a lot of rations with the amount of honey and milk you get. So this is some really easy food that you can go ahead and get pretty quickly. So definitely do this every time you're in town, because it's going to be some really good stuff that you can quickly grab on the way. And you can never get enough healing early game, so this is going to give you a great boost. Make sure when you go to towns that you sign in and in. So this is a free teleport to the area that you can do every 60 minutes. So this is another way you can teleport, and it's going to be helpful. So I usually suggest if you're going somewhere like, say you're at Windsward and you need to go to Monarch's Bluff, well, put your inn at Monarch's Bluff, and then you could have your hub town at Windsward. And whenever you need to go to Monarchs, you can, you could TP to the town. And that will be handy just for like a little example of TPing between the two areas. That could be handy. And you could even have, like, when you get later in game, when you can afford like a cheap house, you could buy a house, and that will provide another teleport area for you that perhaps maybe in that instance you would want to put in Windsward. So definitely consider that as well. Signing in at inns is important, and you're really going to appreciate it when you die and you have that teleport there. When it comes to weapons in early game, go with the highest level one. It will boost your item score. That way you can just try out a bunch of weapons and see what matters the most to you and what kind of playstyle you like. You don't really need to focus in weapon types early on. Just kind of get a grasp at what you like in the lower levels, and then by the time you get to that kind of medium level, you can go ahead and specialize into that one and then level that skill so you can get like the best skills out of that tree. So make sure you just, experiment with weapons, go for the highest item score, help yourself level up a little bit better with that. And then, of course, you can go ahead and specialize later on. If you're still unsure with that, though, it brings me to my next tip on checking out these really useful websites I absolutely recommend. So you can go to newworldsfan.com builds, and you can see a bunch of shared builds that people have shared. If you're really unsure about builds you want to take, that and other people are posting about their builds. So you can read up about that and what they've chosen and what might be better. So we could have a look at one of these popular builds here. Let's do the Axeman, because that sounds funny. You can see what they've put in there, what kind of build they've made, what kind of skills they're putting on, and it will tell you a little summary about why it is a good build. So if you're really unsure about builds, use this website, it'll be helpful. I do have another one, which would be WorldForge. You can mess around with this until the beta starts or whatever you like, or well, before the main game starts. But this is really handy because you can just start a build and pick lots of things and see which you're strongest against and all of that good stuff. So you can pick your weapons just like in game. It's got a really lovely interface on it as well. Now, resources can always be a struggle, especially if you're in a really populated area. However, on your map on the left hand side, you can use a resource finder. In New World, this is built in, and you can see where these kind of resources may spawn. Another really handy thing, if that doesn't really suit you or you're having trouble with looking at it, you don't really get it, another thing that can really help is a fan-made map. So, New World map, I'll put this in the description down below. It looks very, overwhelming looking at it, but you can edit the filters as well to filter out certain things you want. So let's say we want plants. I'm gonna pick plants. We have them all marked off. You can see, if we're scrolling a little bit here, we can see weeping shell bed around the place. It's going to show you locations where all of these things can spawn, and then you can go ahead and pick up those plants if you need. So we're in Windsward right now, and of course this is a really good place for the pedal caps. It's also a really, really good place for hemp fibers. So you can see on this map all the little areas where you may find these certain resources. This especially helped me when I was looking for iron ore, actually. And you can see all these iron veins around the place. And you can go there and see if it's there. If not, there'll be like some little crumbs on the floor showing you that someone has already collected. But this could be a really good map to use to be able to see what you need to find in whatever area in the map that you like. And like I said, you can edit the filters so it's not overwhelming like it is right now. But that's the thing I really highly recommend you check out. It does all sorts of filters, so you could do chests, fishing, points of interest, NPCs, monsters, all sorts of things. Very good map, definitely check it out. But anyway, that's all from me today. Make sure if you have an idea or perhaps you'd like to see a certain video from me, put it in the comments down below. I'll have a look at it, or if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions in the comments. But anyway, thank you for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!